Hi everyone, it's Dawn. Welcome back to my channel. I forgot to film the intro to today's video when I was at home, so I'm filming the intro now from my car. And today's video is going to be reviewing for you two new to the market drugstore products. And I'm going to do first impression and wear test. So I'm going to jump in and I'm going to give you my first impression and an honest review of how I feel about these products after using them one time. So let's just jump in and get started. I picked up two new drugstore products to try for you. One I was really excited to try, and it's the Simply Ageless Essence Skin Tint from Covergirl. It looks like this. It looks a lot like the Chanel Le Beige's Water Tint Foundation. And I haven't watched any reviews on this foundation or read any reviews. I thought that I would just pick this up because I was intrigued. It does look a lot like the Chanel foundation, and I have watched reviews of the Chanel foundation, and not only is that foundation very expensive, but also I like a little more coverage than that foundation offers, and so I didn't want to spend my money on it. I had no desire to pick up that foundation, but when I saw this one and it's only like less than $15, I thought it would be a great way to try a similar foundation. And again, since I haven't tried the Chanel foundation, I don't know if it is a dupe. I only know that they look alike. And if I can get a sample of the Chanel Le Beige's Water Tint Foundation, I can do a comparison in the future, but I think that this is going to perform a lot like I've heard that one performs. It has these little bubbles inside of it, and it's like a serum, but then the bubbles have the foundation, the tint inside of it, inside of them, and they kind of pop as you buff them into your skin and give you a little bit of coverage. I'm not expecting a lot because it is called an essence or a skin tint. And so I thought I would just give it a go and see how I like it. And it does have 0.5% bakuchiol in it. And I do know bakuchiol is a plant derived retinol alternative, and it works a lot like retinol does on our skin without the negative side effects such as drying out your skin or making your skin red, irritated, or peel. And I think it was the Tarte Concealer Foundation also has bakuchiol in it. I might be wrong about which foundation from Tarte, but one of them does, and I'm fairly certain it's the Concealer. So anyways, I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to apply it to my skin. I think I'm going to start on my forehead with my fingers, and then I'm going to try with a brush and just see how it goes. The only reason I'm going to try with a brush and not like a beauty buffer sponge is because this does seem to be a very light foundation, and I don't want my sponge to absorb any of the foundation. And the Chanel Le Beige's foundation, they recommend applying that one with a brush. So this is what the container looks like. It's a plastic container. It does have a pump, and you do get 30 mLs or 1 ounce in this container, so it's pretty standard, and it retails for like $14.90 something, so just shy of $15. And so what I'm going to do first is just apply a little of this to my hand like I typically do. I use my hand as a palette, and as you can see, it's very liquidy, and I hope you can see there's like little beads in there that contain the tint. And I did pick mine up in the shade Light. There are only like 8 or 9 shades, and I think that is because it is such a light foundation, and one shade can be kind of used across the board because it doesn't impart that much pigment. I think there's like 2 or 3 light shades, 2 or 3 medium shades, and 2 or 3 deeper shades. So I don't think that that's like a bad thing necessarily. I think most people will find their shade because it is such a lightweight foundation. So I'm applying it to my forehead using my fingers, and it seems like it's a little bit streaky with my fingers. I think I put a little bit too much, but I also feel like there is like really like no pigment in this at all. Let me see if I use the brush, what'll happen. And this is just like an It Cosmetics Heavenly face brush. Okay, it seems to go on better with the brush. I feel like I need something to kind of grab the foundation and drag it around, and my fingers just kind of slide over it. So the brush is definitely better. It's very, very light. It definitely seems a lot like I've heard the Chanel La Beige's water tint is. And I'm gonna see if I can build it. It doesn't have any SPF in it, so that's kind of a bummer. Usually the Age Perfect foundations, anything like age related, they usually include an SPF because, you know, we're all about protecting our skin, even if we didn't do it so much when we were younger. So there's no SPF, but I don't really mind because I always use a separate SPF beneath my foundation anyways. But it's kind of nice to have a little extra. Okay, so it's very light, and I'm observing that it does provide a little bit of concealing of redness on my skin, and it is evening out my skin tone, so my skin doesn't look quite so red. I do have a blemish on my chin, and I don't think anything's gonna really conceal that right now. It was a really big one. It's been there for like a month, and it was one of those really deep blemishes, and it had to work its way to the surface. So I'm gonna use a different concealer on top of that. You have to go light because in some areas of my face, on my forehead, and then again on my chin, I applied a little too much. And I feel like then when I'm applying it with the brush, it appears a little bit streaky until I buff it in. But the good thing is that it does seem buildable because where I applied too much on my chin, I dragged the excess up into my cheeks and it built up on what was already there. When I first applied it to my forehead, it seemed very, very light, and it didn't seem to have much pigment at all. But as I'm looking into my mirror, it really evened out my skin tone. Like it's like as if you use a filter or something like that on a photo, and it just makes your skin look slightly blurred and softer. That's how it looks. I actually kind of like it. And it doesn't feel tacky on my skin. It feels slightly tacky. I feel a little bit of tackiness. It's not like it's completely dried down. So we're gonna see about that. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes and I'm gonna see if this dries down completely. And then once it does, I'm gonna try to build up a tiny bit. I'm not gonna put quite as much as I did the first time around, but I'm just gonna go over like my cheeks where I have freckles and just a few areas. I don't really think I need it, but I want to show you that if it can or can't build up on itself. But I'm going to bring you in really close with just this one coat. I do have some dry patches on my skin right now, particularly around that blemish. And it's not clinging to it. It's not accentuating it. So I'm just gonna chat with you for a second while I wait for this to dry down. So what have you guys been up to? It's really cold here. It's like in the negative digits, and my 2 college kids and my high school son are home because everything's been closed down because it's like -13, but with the wind chill, it feels like -20. You can only go outside for seconds. Like my dogs are going out onto the deck to go to the bathroom, and I don't even mind. They can only go out there for a few seconds, and then they have to come in. And when they come in, they're like pumping their little paws because they hurt from being so cold. So yeah, just in and out really fast. So that's what's been going on here. I am going to try to get out a little bit today just to run a few errands, and it's sunny. So I do want to get out of the house a little bit, but I'm not going to be out for long. And tomorrow is going to be 14 degrees, and that's going to feel balmy by comparison to what we've been going through. What's it been like by you? I know some of you have told me, I know some of you who live out east are experiencing some flooding and really cold temps too. And then of course, those of you who live in like really warm places are enjoying some sunshine and cooler than normal temps. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. And I know in Mississippi, I have a friend in Mississippi and they're getting snow, a lot of snow compared to what they typically get. So yeah, I guess we're all in this together. All right. So it is dried down. It does feel slightly tacky, but it doesn't bother me. Tacky foundations bother me, and this doesn't feel overly tacky. So let's go ahead and apply a little bit more just to like this area where I have some freckles and see if I get any better coverage. So I'm just gonna use like that much. My brush, I'm just gonna kind of swirl it. I find that if I swirl it on my hand first and pick it up, it helps kind of those bubbles kind of open up and the tint to release. Oh yeah. I think this is really pretty actually. I'm going, a little goes such a long way that to use up what I picked up, I have to go like in more places than just my cheeks. But that's okay. I usually like to apply a little extra foundation into my T-zone anyways, and I just want to be careful around my blemish. I'm looking in my magnifying mirror and it definitely does not look cakey after applying that extra. And it does look a little bit like I can see sort of like a blurring effect, like something's on my skin. So it doesn't look like your skin. You know, it's not a skin-like foundation in my opinion. Maybe just because I applied that much. The first round didn't seem to look like I was wearing any makeup. It's really pretty though. The finish is super pretty. I think I'm gonna do some check-ins during the day today so we can see how it wears while I'm out and about, because it is a sunny day and it's a good day to do some check-ins in natural light. Okay, the next product I picked up is the e.l.f. Liquid Camo Blush, and I picked mine up in the shade Peach. I'll link it below. It looks kind of nude, but it's actually a nice, very, very pale peach. And I thought I would pick it up because peach is the Pantone color of the year for 2024. And so I thought it might be nice to have more peach in my collection, but peach tends to be a color I go for anyways. It's totally like a color that suits me. So I'm pretty sure I have a lot of peach in my collection, but I wanted to pick this one up and give it a try. I don't think I have anything as light as this one, and it does claim to have a dewy finish. And it says that the applicator is rounded and grooved so that it doesn't pick up too much product and it's easy to apply with the applicator itself. So I'm just gonna apply a little to my cheeks like this. And I think to apply this, I'll use the same brush that I used for the foundation. These are both from It Cosmetics, and these are really great brushes. This is the It Cosmetics Heavenly Foundation and Concealer Brush, and this one is the It for Ulta, and it's made by It Cosmetics for Ulta Beauty. I hope you can still get this one because it's exactly the same. It's a really nice brush, and I think it was considerably less than the It Cosmetics brush. And the only difference is that this one is more like all plastic and this one has some metal on the applicator, and this one has like kind of like a softer place to hold it, and this is just all plastic, but essentially everything else is the same. I'm just gonna buff this into my cheeks, and this is really pigmented for such a light shade. It's really pretty. It claims to be dewy when it dries down, and I guess I agree with that. It has a little bit of a sheen to it. It definitely doesn't look matte or flat on my skin, which is nice. I'm gonna apply a little bit more, and I think I'm gonna just tap this with my fingers. put on the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back. So the only thing I did is apply my eye makeup and my lipstick. I didn't apply anything else to my face, and my face definitely feels a little bit dewy. If I rub my finger across my face, I do get a teeny bit of product off, not much. So there is a little bit of transfer, and it doesn't feel like I have anything floating on my skin, but the best way to describe it is it feels like I have a moisturizer on my skin. You know how sometimes you have a moisturizer on your skin at night and you don't mind if it doesn't completely absorb because you're going to sleep? It kind of has that feeling. And if it wears well, I don't mind that. I feel like it would be a really good hydrating foundation during the rest of these winter months. But what I'm going to do now is apply the e.l.f. Halo powder. This is the Halo Glow powder, very lightly over it, just to kind of set it. I think if I set it, it won't feel that way anymore, and it won't transfer or anything like that. So I just put a little bit in the lid, and I'm just gonna really buff it onto this brush so I don't get any like really concentrated areas of powder, and just buff over my face very lightly. That feels good. It's like I already feel like it's like making it feel as if it's soaked in. Oh yeah, now it doesn't feel at all like I've got a dewiness sitting on top of my skin or lotion on my skin. That's definitely what it needed. And I didn't put on any bronzer or anything because I just wanted to see how the foundation would do on its own during the day today. But if I apply my bronzer, a highlighter, more blush, or anything else, you can't really tell how the foundation's gonna do because you've got so many other products over it. So I want the foundation to just kind of speak for itself today. So I'm not gonna apply anything else over it, and I'm gonna do a check-in in about 4 hours. So I'll see you then. Hi ladies, so this is a 6.5 hour check-in. It's probably going to be the only check-in I'll have time to do today because I'm going to lose daylight and I won't be able to film this in my car. And if I film it at home, I'll be in front of my lights again. So I'm going to film this 6.5 hour check-in. I did put on my glasses and really take a look at this foundation and the blush in my mirror in my car. I'm a natural light, as you can see, and I'm very impressed. It doesn't gather up in fine lines and wrinkles or like in any lines on my forehead or anything like that. And it does adhere a little bit to the dry skin on my pimple, but nothing crazy, nothing more than any of my other foundations or CC creams do. It's just par for the course when you have something healing on your skin and it's got a little bit of dry skin that needs to be exfoliated. So it does do that. I'm really impressed. It doesn't feel sticky or tacky. I have not powdered it again since this morning, and I do get a little bit oily in my T-zone, but I think that just makes the foundation look better. I feel like it looks dewy without looking greasy, and I feel like in this really cold weather that I'm in, we all want that little bit of radiance and dewiness to our skin because I feel like we're all trying to look like our skin is really hydrated because most of the time it's not if you live in the climate that I live in the winter months, which is freezing temps. Actually, it's below freezing temps today, and it's just really, really awful out there, and it's windy and it's cold, and it's really hard to prevent your skin from getting chapped and looking its best. But I have been keeping my skin pretty moisturized, and so it is in pretty good condition other than at one spot, and the foundation looks really, really great, I think. And I think the e.l.f. blush looks really good too. I am someone who likes a lot of blush, and since I was trying to review this foundation for you today, I didn't want to bronze my skin, contour, or highlight because I didn't want to have so much makeup on that you couldn't see how the foundation did throughout the day. But since it is such a light shade, I think I wish that I had a little contour here in the backs of my cheeks, a little bit of bronzer up near my forehead, just to add a little more color. It is a very, very light blush, but it is a very dewy and glowy finish. And I think some of the deeper shades would be really, really pretty. I don't know, everything feels really good on my skin. So I would say that for me, that this foundation is a win. I really like it a lot, and I don't know if I would like it as much in the summer months, but I definitely like it this time of year. And just for reference, I'm 55 years old. I live in Chicago. It is the winter. Like I said, freezing temps. I do have combination oily skin, but it's also aging skin and menopausal skin. So take all of that combined into what included in your decision if you think that you would like this foundation as much as I do. But I think it's worth a try. It's definitely, the value for the money is really, really good. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Have you tried this foundation? Would you like to try this foundation? I'm actually shocked because this is not the type of foundation I typically go for. I like more coverage, and I usually like a soft matte or skin-like finish. I usually avoid radiance and dewy finishes, but I like this one a lot. So thank you for spending some time with me, and I hope that you all have a very blessed and beautiful day. I'll see you next time.